going on, y'all? You know, there's a reason why the system, I should say, the American working economy regulates retirement, right? Being able to enjoy the rest of your life off of some sort of retirement aid, SSI, 401k. If you tapped into an IRA or any stocks or bond portfolio, personal savings, physical investments, right? Like where you could really live off of passive type income. But they assert a late age because they know as you get older, it becomes harder to sustain wealth from as extreme as being rich, of course, to as minimum as passive income just to pay for your rent, mortgage, bills, essentially any health care that you have, just maintaining a standard post-working life. They know that mid to late 60s becomes hard to do that. You've been working for 20 or 30, 40 years. Some is 50, some has been working since 14, 15. And being able to maneuver around the impulsive decisions of buying, right? Limiting liability, knowing how to invest correctly, like everything, right? The food that we purchase at quantity, whether you eat very healthy, it's expensive, so that cuts into the long-term cost of having money on you. Obviously, if you eat inexpensively, it's more poor in diet, so that affects your health. No matter which way it goes, to sustain a working career of 30 to 40 plus years makes it hard for retirement, because you got to worry about day-to-day variables that affect money that comes in, money that comes out. That happens regardless whether you're a lapse of work or not. Within this time frame, whatever happens. And you got to be able to sustain yourself at a certain age if you want to retire correctly. So I say all that to say this. It's a system that enables corporations, businesses, whether private or public, to elongate the working class by any means necessary. So obviously the peak of this video, this content I'm sharing, is that SSI is looking to be reduced within the next 9 years. When I see the word buy, it could happen earlier. Buy doesn't necessarily mean it will happen at that point, but there's a forecast that it could happen within this time. So anything that says, by the next 12 months, it could slowly start a gaping month to month, maybe month 6, month 7, but those full ramifications will come in by the end of that, timeline. So SSI is looking to reduce its passive disbursement for people looking to retire within the next 9 years at 23%. At 23%. Round up, that's 25. That's a fourth. Like if you're looking, here's an example. I'll make it clear as day. If you're looking to receive $2,000 in passive income, whether that's your only source of income or one of your sources of income, and if it's one of your sources of income, it's not going to hurt you as much as the next person. But all in all, you work for that much, you put so much time in, you put so much contribution from your from your take-home pay to get that. Whether you have 5 checks coming in or just this one, it doesn't matter. It's your money. But it's looking to reduce that thing for about 23%, specific number, right? So $2,000, right? It's about what, 25%? It's about $475 to $500 reduction. This is monthly. This is not a one-time fee. $2,000 over 12 months is $24K. Pretty decent passive income for whoever you are, right? Especially if you can offset your costs with other, whether it's environmental factors, cheaper cost of living somewhere else, vice versa. 24K a year is substantial. So because the American economy is where it's at, the culture of America is where it's at, these Fortune 500, essentially 1%ers, where the government is at, it's meticulous spending on international affairs, right? That's gonna cut, and that aid will be going somewhere else. Money that you get, whether you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly for some people in more radical situations, your monthly passive allocations will be cut by almost a fourth if you're looking to retire within the next 9 years. By 2034, 23%, right? So if you're expecting $2,000, expect $1,500 to $1,600 a month. If you're expecting about $25K a year post-retirement, expect about $19 to $20K. You know what I'm saying? Expect that. Where the sun is pretty dark right here. Expect that stuff, man. And I'll put it to you further, right? And I won't make this too long. But expect that. This is 2034. So you could retire whenever you want, but you could collect SSI as early as 62, right? If you need the money faster for whatever reason, right? You won't get your maximum amount like you would at 67, or 70 even. So you get as early as 62. I believe you would apply a couple months before you turn 62. You'll start getting it at or after 62. So 2034 is 9 years from now, 8.5 years from now, right? At max assertion of that deduction, it could happen sooner. Let's say it's delayed all the way up to 9 years. That's people around 53, 54. People having a retirement, people looking to retire within the next 10 years right? That's affecting them. A whole quarter of your, essentially your retirement, a quarter of it, right? A quarter of your retirement will essentially be gone, depleted, to aid somewhere else. And it has nothing to do with your livelihood. For people at around 53 to 54 now. So imagine people who are 10 years younger, 15 years younger, 20 years younger, 30 years younger, people who are just getting out of college. People just a little younger than me, right? There's not going to be any SSI. You won't be able to retire if you're depending on that. And most people are depending on that. Because most people can't buy that house. Most people can't invest in other ROI accounts, right? Most people can't live below their means because everywhere you look around, below your means puts you out of a necessary threshold of quality of life because everything is inflated. Think about that when you're putting your plans into play with prolonging working in America and or for an American corporation, business entity, and relying off of a certain passive income with SSI, which of course you should, right? You get your pay stubs. You see it's taken out all the time, 70, 80, that stuff adds up, man. To be able to provide you or aid you into a nice retirement, and now it can't. Taking your money right in front of us, right under our nose, man. It's right below our feet. I feel like everywhere I turn, every day, there's at least one sign to say, can't do it. Can't sustain this way. There's one sign every single day now. Right? So if people's retirement is looking shaky in the next 8 to 9 years, 6 to 7 years, right? The Gen Zs and the millennials of the world, how are we gonna retire? If we're putting our trust or ignorance in the hands of the American system that controls how the needle is moved, right? And it's not towards the betterment of the people. It's not. It hasn't been for decades at this point, decades, man. So think about that. Look that video up. Look at that. Look into this stuff, man, because it's not, America it's slowly just getting, it's looking like this pig with that lipstick and the dress. It's patterning itself to still look a certain way, assert itself with a certain dominance or a certain luxury, but it's all false. Again, America is built off the backs of its people. That means it has to take from its people to sustain. So look at different options. The whole goal in life is to maneuver. And I always remember that quote, it's crazy. Ask not for what your country can do for you, but ask for what you can do for your country. We're not even in the round table to say, hey, yeah, let's do this. It just happens, and then we get notified for when the time is gonna come. So it doesn't matter, man. Hope y'all be easy.